Hey everyone, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 538, being recorded Wednesday, March 27th, 2019. I'm Jim Tanis.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Sebastian Peak.
And we're so glad you could join us. We hope you had a great week since we last spoke with you. Just a heads up, I'm a bit under the weather, so I may cough or grimace or just look otherwise even more unpleasant than I normally do. So no offense intended towards you. It's not you, it's me. But we're back here. As always, we try to record Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 a.m. UTC with daylight savings time now here in the U.S. But we've got a few changes coming up. So next week, which is, let me see if I can pull the calendar up here to get the dates. So next week, we would normally record Wednesday the 3rd. I'm going to be out of town, so we're going to record Thursday the 4th. So it'll be the same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UTC on Thursday the 4th. And that's next week. It's April 4th. And then the following week, we're still looking to see if we can make something work, but there probably will not be a podcast the week of Monday, April 8th. Because I'm also, again, going to be out of town, and I'm going from one appointment to another, and there's just no opportunity to host anything. So we'll try, like I said, if we can put something together, we'll notify you. And if not, just expect a bye week 2 weeks from now. So a day late next week, and then probably no show the week after that. But if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, like I said, we'll notify you if we can put something together that second week. Make sure you join our mailing list. That's at pcpro.com/subscribe. We send out a plain text email about an hour or so before we go live, just to let you know and provide the YouTube link and all that. Otherwise, you can always find our show on demand a day or so after we record. So with that, let's jump in. We've got a lighter week, mostly to accommodate the fact that I'm not going to last the usual 90 minutes to 2 hours here. So we'll jump right into the reviews. First off, we've got a review of, we kind of teased this a couple weeks ago, and Sebastian has his review done. This is the Corsair Carbide Series 678C low noise tempered glass case. Why don't you tell us about this?
Yes. Well, the first thing you might notice, and this is one of two cases that Corsair released, I think it was a week ago now. We already talked about the large dual chamber case. It might have been 2 weeks now. This is in the Carbide series. That was the Crystal series. And this is all about low noise. And immediately, this is very reminiscent of Fractal Design's Define R6 case, which I reviewed. I think it was a year and a half ago I reviewed that one. And similarities include extensive sound damping throughout. There are sound damping panels, an optional top panel that is the rear panel, front panel. And this one, like the Define case, has an opening like front door that hides the front intake fans, as well as an optical drive. This has a 5.25 inch bay, which is always nice to see.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So right off the bat, like the only real issue I had with this case, and you can look at I counted 27 pictures in the review. So you can look at all the ins and outs of the case on the review at pcpro.com. But essentially my takeaways were very quiet. So all that sound dampening is working. Better airflow than I was expecting. It ships with 340 millimeter fans that are fairly quiet. They measure very quiet. They were audible to me standing next to the case, but we're talking like 33 decibels measured. So barely audible over any room noise, and still surprisingly good airflow. If you look at pictures of the case, unlike Fractal Design's Define series, there are not the vent slots surrounding the front door. The only place for front air to come in is actually a cavity at the bottom of that door. It's not small. I mean, you can put your hand into the cavity. It's big enough that a lot of air gets in through the front of the case, and a lot of air is actually drawn up through the bottom of the case. And if you look at the review, there's at least one picture that shows the case floor, which is one of those shrouds that hides like your PSU and all the cables. That's fully perforated, so that does allow a lot of air to kind of come up through the bottom, through a screen filter, and then through your case. So it performed better from a thermal standpoint than I was expecting. Still very quiet. My only real issue with the case is its price tag, which is $199. And this does offer a couple of features over the Fractal case, which retails for $149. namely like the hinged door. This tempered glass door in this case is hinged, so it's really nice. It closes magnetically. You can open and close it at will, just like that Crystal Series case we looked at, without any tools or anything.
Hey, when you get angry and you slam that shut, what does it do?
Makes a louder noise.
Oh,
I have yet to break. I have actually yet in all these years, I've yet to break a tempered glass panel, and I've also yet to have one shipped to me broken. I've had cases arrive dented just because of the perils of ground shipping, but no broken glass yet. It's a case. It's a nice looking case. It's kind of expensive, and to add insult to injury, Fractal dropped the price of their case to $119.99 as soon as this launched. Like I saw it was on sale direct from Fractal on Newegg for $119. So it's kind of a, well, we'll see if this drops a little bit. I think that some of the features this brings to the table, like the fact that it comes with some more robust hard drive trays than what I saw from Fractal. That was my one complaint about the Define R6, was that it had kind of flimsy hard drive trays. They were mounted on 3 points, not 4. So one corner was always kind of, I don't know, sagging a little bit. And these are a little bit nicer. These are a lot closer to what we've seen from like the Be Quiet style of hard drive mounts. But anyway, $199. What do you think, guys? Is this, comparing this to the Define case, which has been a favorite for years in its various incarnations? How does
seems a
that
little
price
pricey
fit?
for what you get. You know, some of the previous Corsair cases that I know that they have introduced, you know, they were relatively more expensive than a lot of the competing stuff. I mean, they kind of rely on their name, and they, you know, rely on it. It takes a while to get product out there. I don't think they're not the Intel of PC cases where the market is flooded with CPUs, though, of course, you know, Intel hasn't really been Intel lately when it comes to releasing CPUs. But regardless, those prices seem to go down pretty quickly, especially kind of more at the high end. I mean, how much they'll go down, I don't know, but you know, $199 seems a little excessive for this, especially considering the competition.
And the backspace is really tight.
Yeah, that was the other thing I had mentioned in the review, is that
compared
there's
to some of the ones that are cheaper and have every other little thing that this one does, it's sort of missing a bit and charging a bit of a premium for it.
I kind of went back and forth on this versus some of the other cases, like the Be Quiet case in the $200 price range, where those don't come with the same number of like drive bays. For example, this comes with 6 of the drive cages, so that's an accessory you'd have to purchase separately if you got a case that only had like 2, but the option of adding up to 6 more. This one can hold up to 8 hard drives, comes with 6 of those trays. There's the option of
But
adding
how
2
many
more.
NVMe drives does it hold?
You know, that for some reason that's up to your motherboard vendor. I'm not really sure why yet, Josh. At this
Shocking.
point, I can ask those questions, but
You could ask those questions.
I could, and I would probably not have those emails returned. Anyhow, that's the Corsair Carbide 678C, a case that I liked and would like to see come down a little bit in price.
All right, and a silver award.
Yeah, just mainly because of the price. It could have been gold if it came out aggressively matching like the $149 price of the Define. I think that's where I would put it.
Sure. All right, moving on. We've got another review. Actually, all the reviews this week I think are from Sebastian. So
yeah, sorry,
spoiler there.
listeners and viewers.
I'm trying to get my 2 out before the end.
Somebody else can read the next review. How about that?
Well, we can try.
We'll all talk about it. It's
sure.
Josh and I have a love of good audio and of headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pair I don't think you've heard, Josh. This is a newer pair from ASUS. This is the ROG Delta headset, and it is one of the finest headsets. And I use the word finest because just the overall quality is very high. It feels premium. It looks premium. It sounds great. And it kind of has that higher end headphone kind of look and feel. Some similar to, I don't know, like some Sennheisers I've tried out that have like the leather ear pads, and it just the metal and plastic ratio seems to be very good. There's no creakiness whatsoever to it. There are parts of it that feel very strong, like stronger than you would expect from even at this price point. These are $179. Obviously not cheap, but we've seen gaming headsets of $200 and even $300. I would put these right up against. So one of the interesting things to me, the drivers are 50 millimeter drivers that actually have a very controlled sound, very neutral kind of throughout the frequency range. One of the few pairs I've tried recently that don't overemphasize bass. So I was listening to some music and thinking, oh, these are, these have kind of a bass boost. And then I listened to some other music that I knew was mastered without any kind of EQ, and instantly was noticing like a lack of that emphasized bass. And I went around and it was very source dependent. These basically reveal whatever the source has on offer. You can absolutely go into the software and tweak the EQ, and there's different preset modes and a manual EQ mode, and you can save your own profiles. But just listening to these with the flat profile and no effects, very neutral sounding. Of course, they're a gaming headset. So I listened to, my favorite profile ended up being the preset called gaming. There's different like genres that you can go into, like a FPS shooter mode, which is very mid-range heavy, supposed to emphasize like details, you can hear things better. But the gaming mode basically just made everything sound a little bit wider and was more of a smaller room kind of environment, because it defaults to a reverb effect that they call studio, which was, it simulated being in like a, like a 12 by 12 room or something. It just sounded like there were speakers on your desk. It was pretty convincing effect that you were listening to like room audio instead of headphone audio. The only thing that I'll point out about the surround effects that I've noticed with quite a few of these headsets actually is that it doesn't really do rear positional audio. I think I've only ever heard one that kind of did that, but that was more a function of like Dolby headphone versus like the DTS effects where they can kind of simulate those back channels. But this does center, left, right, front, and surround left, right perfectly, which is what most of these do. So anyhow, the RGB effects, of course, are on board. There's a version of this, a similar version of this headset that is analog and does not have any RGB lighting. This one's all digital, and I've kind of buried the lead because the big thing about this, Josh, is that it's a quad DAC. It has a.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, because ESS
I'm
Saber
curious too.
DACs are pretty high end, and I mean high end with when you're talking about DACs, you're looking at $13 to $17 per chip, which you can get some Burr Brown ones for $5. And but anyway, yeah, I mean they're considered pretty high end, and once you add 4 of them to the mix, that's a little bit extra scratch in the bill of materials.
Yeah, it's a single product. The 9218. I went and looked at the original press release from 2016 for that from ESS, and it is internally 4 DACs. And basically what they're able to do with that is, instead of stretching the capabilities of one, where usually your 2-channel performance is a little bit better than your multi-channel performance, in using 4 in tandem like that, they're getting higher signal to noise ratio, lower distortion. They rate this part for up to 130 decibels of signal to noise. This implementation in the ROG Delta is, they're claiming 127, so almost the full signal to noise ratio capable here. And another interesting thing is, even though these are RGB, they use a custom PCB that shields the RGB lighting, the electricity, from the audio with 2 extra layers, like 2 layers of ground shielding. And so, because there is always the possibility of high frequency switching noise, whether or not that would actually interfere, I don't know, but it certainly does help their signal to noise. So they
That makes
sound
me feel
really
a little
good
bit better that it's only one
about.
chip.
Yeah. It's a single SoC from ESS called the ES9218, as far as I know. That was the only product from them that matched up, and seems to be very effective. The one thing I'll point out is these like most audio products in general, with a very few exception, there is going to be just a single clock oscillator. So they're only going to do like the 24 hertz oscillator. So it will do like 48 and 96 perfectly. Anything that's like 44.1 derived, like 88.2 kilohertz sampled music or audio, it cannot do, which is that stuff is pretty much limited to just DSD conversions. There's a lot of previous SACD masters that got converted over to PCM audio, and a lot of those are at 24-bit 88 too. This will do on-the-fly conversion. It sounds very good, but anyway, that no one is doing what I do, which is after I game with this, I always use a combination of FooBar 2000 with the Windows Audio Session API, and then configure it to like direct output to the device so that there's absolutely no resampling going on. And that's the only time you'll ever be affected by anything like that. But virtually every product is going to have just one clock generator. But probably talked too much about this already. I think everyone else is probably tuned out by now.
Well, I know that my connection for some reason is jumping up and down, and that probably is what's causing the audio, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was concerned that either you had frozen or you were practicing some Eastern European form of meditation and hadn't moved. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, no.
One last thing, microphone. If you listen to the podcast, I think it was last week I wore this headset. That was the mic just straight with default settings, no additional EQ or anything added. I think it sounded pretty good. I listened to a little bit of the playback, and for a headset microphone, definitely well above average.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good. All right. Well, speaking of microphones, let's talk about another piece of hardware that is on display, and that's the HyperX QuadCast USB microphone that they announced. I don't know if they officially launched it at CES, but they announced it back in January, and we took a preview of it back then. And Sebastian, as you can see with the beautiful red light, is using it right now.
That's right. The red light lets you know that you're on the air. Yeah, yep. Look, it comes with a shock mount. So this QuadCast microphone, there's a couple of unique features about it. Primarily the red light that lets you know that you're on the air, and this top, which is actually a button, is a touch-sensitive button. If I tap it, I am muted, and the light goes off. So if you ever see the light, you know that you're, well, I don't know where I'm going with that, but you're on the air if you see the red light, which is obviously you can't miss it, even out of the corner of your eye. So you know not to say embarrassing things on live podcasts. And then you tap it. So anyway, yeah.
I'm gonna dub something during those muted seconds.
Oh, perfect. This shock mount comes with it. It comes mounted to a nice metal base that I have right here, and it comes with the threaded adapter. It'll work on any microphone stand or boom. So $139 is the introductory price of this, which puts it $10 above the Blue Yeti microphone, which is $129, and somewhere between the Yeti and the Yeti Studio. So the way this differentiates, I think, is the fact that it includes a shock mount, where with Blue, that's an additional purchase. The cheapest one they sell retails for $49. And then the whole touch to mute thing, it was just interesting. I don't think I've seen another microphone with this feature. So whether or not those features matter to you will, determine whether you're willing to spend $139 for this versus $129 for that microphone. Like the Yeti, it comes with 4 different patterns. I have it switched to the unidirectional cardioid pattern right now. There's an omnidirectional pattern, bidirectional, and even stereo, because this has 3 elements in it, 3 14-millimeter electret condenser microphone elements. So you can turn this into a stereo mic and do I don't know what you'd really do with that. It does a decent job of creating that sort of realistic hi-fi kind of spatial stereo sound. So if you wanted to record, I don't know, music, sound effects, make us like 2 people on a desk having a left-right stereo conversation, but this mode sounds pretty good.
Videos.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, you can talk about it over here, and then let's talk about hardware. Yeah, hardware's really cool.
Yes, we're talking about the hardware. I need something to unwrap, like crinkling sounds.
Yeah, something like that.
As Lawn Dog in the IRC chat points out, that the microphone sounds pretty nice, has a little bit of bass to your voice. Yes, there is a bass emphasis, especially in this mode. The unidirectional mode does sound a little bit warmer and has way better background noise rejection because it's only firing forward. I think it's just the one condenser firing forward in this mode. No other like options or anything. There is a gain control on the bottom, which I can get very loud, and does have a lot of gain. No hum or buzz or anything. Just some added hiss if you go really high on the gain. And
Dude, that's like a
live
feature-packed
monitoring.
microphone.
Yeah, no, it
That
has
is-
everything that the Blue Yeti has, and
And
a
it's
shock
150
mount
bucks.
and tap 140, 139.99. Yeah,
Wow, that's
I think
Yeah,
it's
good.
pretty
that's
good.
dirt cheap. Yeah, I mean, if you think about these monoprice, speakers, well, they're pretty good. I mean, they're like 89 bucks, but it's just a mic.
Yeah, I got no light. I got no modes.
Yeah,
And
I
that
got no way
monoprice
to
mic, 'cause
just
I have the same
gain.
one. That monoprice mic does not have a live monitor either. Something that a lot of the other like higher end mics, like from Blue, and now this HyperX mic, you plug any 3.5 millimeter headphone into it, you have live monitoring. There's absolutely no delay. My only complaint is that there is no separate volume control for your monitor, which I've gotten used to with my little mix board, but you can control that in Windows. You can just use the Windows volume because this becomes like your default output device. So I'm listening to you guys and myself in real time just by plugging in a pair of headphones. And the cable that it comes with is actually sufficiently long. It's like 3 meters. So I've got it like snaked down around this headphone stand and then down at a computer a couple feet away. So really no complaints about this at all, except I would like to see like an additional volume control for the monitor, but that's it.
All right, so
It
pretty.
doesn't sound as clean as maybe the monoprice is, but I think that may be kind of the unidirectional. It probably you can adjust that because there's 4 settings for it, right?
Yeah, it sounds a lot different in some of the other modes. Like if I were to switch it over to, oh, you know what? I think I had it in the omnidirectional mode. Now I'm in
Holy
the
cow, you sound
stereo
better.
mode. Yeah, I'm in the
Oh,
stereo
wow.
mode now. What was I in before? I was probably in that bi-directional mode, which is not as good. Here we go. Here's the unidirectional mode. This probably
Okay,
sounds
that
a little bit.
sounds cleaner.
Yeah, I was in the wrong
There's
mode.
a noticeable
I can't
difference.
see.
Yeah, no, that
And then
that
this
sounds
is
really
probably
good.
the most neutral and sounds the most realistic. This is just the stereo mode. It's using multiple, like all 3 condensers at once, I think. So anyhow, that's the QuadCast USB microphone. It's the first effort from HyperX and a very good one.
It's definitely not blue.
No, it is definitely
like the
not blue.
competition.
And yeah, and just to reiterate, the light is only red. It's not RGB. It's just red. So hopefully that works for your setup. Let's jump into the news. I've got a few news stories this week. First up is news on Ryzen's 2000 series processors getting price drops ahead of the expected 3rd gen or Ryzen 3000 launches. Much to tell us about this, Sebastian? Or Jeremy? Or who wrote this? Sebastian.
I
but
did,
Jeremy
but I
can
don't have
probably
to.
talk
I don't have
about
to
it.
keep talking. Anybody
Okay.
can talk about this.
Jeremy?
Anyone can talk about it. Cheap as chips, man. There are some really nice price drops. And honestly, if you don't have a fetish of I have to have the latest, greatest stuff, so I'm going to sit and wait. I mean, it's brilliant. Like the 2700 is essentially $80 off at $220. And that's just a brilliant deal. If you want the unlocked version with the Wraith Prism, it's dropped down to $290. So you're paying a bit extra, but you do get the Prism cooler, which is a decent one. If you don't want to quite go that way, for the 2600s, $200 or $250 if you want the overclockable or unlocked with the Spire. It's just absolutely lovely. And if you're doing a bargain basement build, like you can see right there, the 2400G is $135. It's a really good time to pick these up, unless, as I say, you're desperately waiting on 3000 and just refuse to even think about it. I mean, at this point, even just upgrade while you're waiting. It's about that affordable and lovely to see from AMD.
God bless that. That was compatible, socket compatible generation.
Oh,
Yeah, we've seen
if you think
stories of
the 1800X when it was first released was a $500 processor, and now you get faster performance for $270.
And it was
$280.
It was a deal at 500, which is the amazing part. Like that was a good price at that point for that level of performance, and to have it halved, that's awesome.
Some of those deals too, like the Ryzen, the 2600 for 165. That is really cheap for that.
Yeah, 12 threads and pretty quick clocks, almost up to 2700X and boost. Yeah, that's a steal.
And it really depends on the chip too, how well it overclocks. I know that, Kyle, especially over at Hard OCP back in the day, did a lot of overclocking with these, and somewhere in like the 4.2 gigahertz range, I think, is the ceiling on a lot of them. But you're getting such a incredible deal on just raw like cores and thread count. And Amazon definitely does seem to have the best deals. I was looking at Newegg, and their discounts were not as steep, at least when I was checking. We're talking like 20+% off across the board on all the ones that were in stock. And the 2600 kind of went out of stock, came back into stock yesterday, I think. So they won't last forever. And obviously they're trying to clear inventory. And I hope this is a sign that we're going to be seeing the 3000 series sooner rather than later.
Well, and they did the same thing last year with the first gen. And I wonder, we should probably look up what the timing difference was between price drops and launch.
That is about 2 months.
Was it? Okay.
Because they have about 60 days of inventory on hand usually. And so when you drop prices like that, you can kind of get rid of some extra stuff and hopefully, drain most of the most of the excess by then. I'm trying to think, what is it? The channel. Sorry.
The retail channel.
Yeah. Draining excess.
There's an OEM channel as well. But,
Yeah. All right. That's something to keep an eye on. Obviously there's a lot of people out there waiting for Ryzen 3000, but as Jeremy said, at some of these prices, you can still do both.
Yeah.
No reason to, if you need something now, no reason to wait.
And keep an eye out because the motherboards will come down too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you probably get a combo deal, and for under $400, you're set up with a chip and a really good motherboard.
Yep. And then if you want that 3000 chip, you won't get the 500 series chipset features, but you can drop your Ryzen 3000 into your 400 series board, right? So
yeah, especially if you get a higher end one with, more robust VRMs, then
yeah,
they're going to handle that perfectly fine.
Upgrade paths galore. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next news item. Maxon, a couple weeks ago now, released Cinebench R20, and it was an unusual release because they released it via the Windows Store, and immediately people figured out how to jailbreak it release it from the Windows Store, because Windows apps have to, they're designed to run in sort of like a sandbox and a protected mode, and people said, well, if you download it from the Windows Store, you can go in and grab these files and change that setting, and then you can run it as a standalone app. And then there was initially though, I think it was Guru 3D, who posted a tutorial about this, got threatened to take those steps down, to stop telling people how to run it through or outside of the store. And it's just weird, because this is not the kind of app that you normally would think should be tied to a platform like the Microsoft Store. And so thankfully they've changed course, and as of this week are distributing the software through their website as a standalone app. So
yeah, weird. I downloaded it. It's just a zip file like it always has been. It's a portable app. You just run it. It functions exactly the same way that R15 did now, as it should have all along. I have no idea what their agreement with Microsoft was or why it's been terminated already. But
yeah,
it was an interesting experiment by both of them,
I guess.
Because I think Microsoft probably looks at the 3D Mark guys and the UN Engine dudes, and think that maybe there's a niche here that we can serve and make it more popular and easy. And if you're a user at home and you want to see how fast your machine runs and against all these other guys, well, hey, we've got an easy way, one-click installation from the Windows Store for you. And of course, all of the hardware reviewers and wannabes out there are just pissed because it's not very transportable. And admittedly, it was easy to download from the Windows Store, even on a machine that I didn't sign into the Windows Store on, I think.
Josh, are you a shill for Microsoft?
Yes.
Okay.
I have
All right,
one
just getting that out.
Microsoft share, and I'm going to make that go up 5% and make $10. I don't know what the hell share price is.
I
now.
own
I don't
no
own
shares in any company. I own no shares of any company. I think I used to because I had a retirement plan with my previous job, but I actually cashed that out when I quit. So
Yeah, I've got a SEP
I have,
IRA, but I have
nothing.
no idea who's actually in it. I'm just in a couple of markets.
That's for the best.
Okay.
Speaking of transparency,
All right. Next up, we've got news on some more games getting some of the fancier NVIDIA features. Anthem had a patch 1.0.4 that has brought DLSS and highlight support. Why don't you tell us about this, Sebastian, or whoever else is briefed on this?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. Patch 104 came out for Anthem, and it adds those NVIDIA features, which obviously, if you have a 2000 or 2000 series RTX card, now they're claiming up to 40% performance gains, kind of the same gains we had originally seen from Battlefield when they got their DLSS support. So ray trace, I mean, the screenshots look great. I didn't watch the video very closely to do like the A/B comparisons, but there is a video embedded in the post, so you can look at what it looks like with the DLSS enabled. And I'm sure we'll see breakdowns of this. They showed performance. There's a little graph in the story that it makes a huge difference. They're still not showing like incredible numbers, but they were actually demoing this at, I think, maximum settings at 4K. Yeah, max game settings 4K on a system with an i9 9900K and 32 gigs of RAM. So still, I mean, a 2060 with DLSS was getting almost 40 frames a second, all the way up through like 70 frames a second with a 2080 Ti. Very, very playable. And then the other thing they added was NVIDIA Highlights, which is like it sort of pre-records in certain scenarios and then lets you post stuff using the GeForce Experience app. So for GeForce people, for people who use, RTX 20 series cards, just extra stuff. And it adds to the list now of all the games, which are, I think, are around a half dozen now with official DLSS support. So it's very slowly growing. I imagine we'll see some more titles in the near future.
So the game may look and perform better in certain circumstances, but may not actually be a better game, unfortunately.
I don't really keep up on my Battle Royale shooter hierarchy, so I don't really know where that one sits. Isn't that considered like
it's more like Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, this is not necessarily a battle royale. This is loot shooter.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Well, I think
it needs to be battle royale.
I think they're addressing that. But Apex, the similarly named Apex, is the more popular,
Apex
more
Legends.
successful battle royale. Yeah.
All right, that's probably
this is the disappointing.
one.
But now we've got Battlefield 5, Fire Ring something. That didn't that just get released as well?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. Yeah. I've heard about it. I don't know if it's actually out yet, but
I'm gonna open up one of my clients and start downloading automatically.
Thank you.
Oh, right now? Cool.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Montana internet will hold up for us.
Wyoming, damn.
And then, of course,
Wyoming. Sorry. God, that's all.
Are you close? Are you close to Montana, Josh?
No, I'm close to Colorado.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Montana is directly north of Wyoming, but I'm 300 miles away as the crow flies.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Next up, another NVIDIA story real quick. This is the Game Ready Drivers update. It's 4.19.67 that came out this week. And it's just on the heels of that Creator Ready Driver program we talked about last week, which is NVIDIA's new drivers targeted sort of at pro users who are using consumer cards. So this one's for the gamers. And, I don't think it was anything huge here. It was just a usual roundup of performance fixes. And it did add 2 new monitors to the official G-Sync compatibility program. That's the ASUS VG278QR and ASUS VG258. So that's good. And then you do get tweaks for that Battlefield 5 Firestorm we were just talking about, Anthem, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and the new, is it Sekiro? How do you pronounce that new?
Sekiro.
Sekiro. The is that From Software who did that? That's the
Yeah.
oh god, what are the name of those stupidly hard games? Oh my god.
Leisure Suit Larry?
No, the combat. Oh god, this is embarrassing.
It was. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Souls?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. This is like Dark Souls Japan, right? Is my I haven't played it yet, but it's
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Is that the game?
So the waifu pillows hit back.
Twice.
potentially
in the shadows.
in the shadows.
Yes.
The dirty pillows.
Well,
strike
yeah,
back.
that's where you keep them. Yeah.
Some of
At
I've
least
seen
that's
just
where
a
you
few
should keep them.
just a few clips and just a few people talking about it, but it seems like it's very very popular thus far. One of those like stupidly hard yet still fun kind of games. So, and good PC support too. Apparently there's if it's not officially supported, there's an ultra wide patch, and it does come with a frame limiter from what I've heard, but that's easily removed.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. The only other fun thing is that apparently us peasants that are still using Turing GPUs should, in theory, be able to enable G-Sync while you're in NVIDIA Surround.
So you mean Pascal?
In theory. Or
Pascal.
You said still
yes,
using
I said-
Turing. What,
I said
Jeremy? What do you know that
Wait
we
a
don't
second.
know?
Turing is
What's the new architecture?
It's
Yeah,
called
what-
Bob.
Okay, I can't say. All right, fine.
Wait, so G-Sync,
NVIDIA Bob.
assuming it's Pascal, G-Sync Surround wasn't available on Pascal?
It got upset. Like, and there's still some games, like I know Far Cry 5 really hates NVIDIA Surround. Right, so they didn't straight out say that it works every time. It's just that it's enabled, so play with it at your own risk, but in theory it should work, and hopefully your monitors agree on the refresh rate, because otherwise that's not going to feel good.
Yeah, that's I haven't even messed with Surround in years. Just it got to the point where it wasn't worth it. The experience was too buggy, too difficult to set up. And whatever
It's
happened,
better. I mean, I'm using it now, but it occasionally, like I say, Far Cry 5, it just freaking hates it.
okay. What happened to the because they advertised a couple years ago, it was one of their conferences where they teased the rendering where it was going to independently render multiple displays in a surround configuration so that you wouldn't have the distortion. But it was a big deal. Jensen went on about it, and then I haven't seen anything since.
I thought that was more of a VR thing.
Well, it had application. That technology was going to be used for VR, but then they also showed it in a surround setup, saying, "Hey, now you've got true perspectives in your surround gameplay." But okay, well, anyway, what do we got next? We've got it's our last story. We just plowed through the news. Okay, and this one is interesting. So if you guys recall, a few months ago, a few years ago, Intel and Micron set out to work on Optane memory or 3D XPoint, Optane being Intel's brand name for that technology. But then they had a little bit of a breakup, and they had this joint facility, and Micron said they were going to buy Intel out. I think that was in January. And Intel said, fine, that we planned for this, and they have a year to complete the process, and all that went down. But then apparently recently there was some news that an Intel employee who worked on this he went over to Micron and potentially took some intellectual property with him. Why don't you tell us?
That's Intel's story.
Is that okay? So that's the accusation.
Yeah. So there's a USB drive. It's the smoking gun, we could say. But according to what Doyle Rivers, the person that moved from Intel to Micron, says, it's a spreadsheet with the contact deals about 3,000 or so Intel employees, just so that I can keep up with the people that I've been working with for forever. And it's just a beautiful statement. 110 Perl scripts with sentimental value. Because don't we all love our Perl scripts? And if you look into it, there's sort of like handy automation things, like one that I wrote for a certain Intel employee that will remain unnamed, that better not be using it at Intel. But it's focal details, like various DPM calcs to try and figure out performance on released SSDs. So I mean, yeah, in sort of theory, this is not best practice. You generally shouldn't leave your job and take a USB drive with you. I've had to deal with this in real life a few times, and it's never fun for anyone involved. But on the other hand, he's pretty much saying we're perfectly happy to let you take a look at the drive, and there's nothing on it. So why are you getting so upset?
Yeah, I do want to I want to point out something here. We're in a culture, obviously, with some of the news about hate crimes and obviously just tension and there's just a lot of hate in the world. And I've noticed a pattern of hatred. And I think I want to say right here that we're going to stand up and we're going to stop this war on cargo pants.
I knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're the ringleader of this little
Somebody
mob.
has to.
Just because
You know
I
what?
It is a
confronted
versatile
you,
piece of clothing. I don't wear it to look good. I wear it to get the job
just
done.
because I created an awkward tension at CES when I confronted you in our hotel room about your cargo pants. You just can't let it go. And I
No.
told you I was sorry. I
Well,
told
he's
you I was
got
being
plenty
an
of
ass.
pockets to store it in.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, you know what? I fell in love with cargo pants in 1987 when I picked up my first Banana Republic catalog. And it was a whole 3 paragraphs describing the joys and wonders of cargo pants and how he was trekking through the Amazon and
Why do you
the
remember
amount
all
of
of this?
extra storage that he had. And so he local sourced them from a group in Brazil and he imported them into America. And I wanted those cargo pants so bad, but they were like $50 at the time. And in 1987, I didn't have $50.
Hell,
It
back
sounds
then,
like a
Levi's were
political
15 or 20.
platform, Josh. I had a
It might
dream.
be.
Keep accusing Brazil
I
of
had a
being
dream
banana
of
republic.
cargo pants in 1987 with $2 in my pocket and a dream.
And this explains why I'm so bitter today.
a gaming monitor
And I
on
lost
every
all my
desk and a
hair.
pair of cargo pants in everyone's drawers.
You know, I don't think Banana Republic sells cargo pants anymore.
Probably
They're
not.
they're kind of like flat front chinos kind of a place now.
That's a shame. I love my cargo
But if you
pants.
turn them inside out, they're cargo pants.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
Just sew on a pocket. There's no one stopping you from learning how to sew and sewing pockets on your own pants.
You're going to regret, be careful what you wish for.
Zippers.
Yeah, the next
Putting
time I see
zippers
Jim,
on
he's
it,
going to have like
turn them into
12 pockets
shorts.
on each leg.
Yeah.
Look at
Just
everything
load
I
them
can
up.
carry with me. I have 17 phones, 3 battery packs.
I mean,
And
for
you
me,
also look like a 13-year-old boy that likes rap because your pants are down around your knees.
I wear them at the proper height, whatever, waist level. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So I'm just saying, stop the hate.
Stop
It's too much hate. Bring in the love.
Yeah,
Bring in the love.
I mean, there may
You
have
can
been
fit.
a mention of cargo pants in that post by Jeremy, but hey, it's all in good fun.
That's what they always say.
Yeah, that's
But-
true. Until people get hurt.
Exactly. All right, let's get this over with and jump into our picks of the week. I'm up first, and so as I mentioned, I've been a little
Is
under
it
the
cargo
weather.
pants?
Actually,
Yes,
I
please.
it should have been.
I am
It should have
looking up
been.
Banana Republic cargo pants and see if anything comes up.
There you go. Well, anyway,
Where
so
can you
I
buy
was.
cargo pants? Duluth Trading Company sells cargo pants, I think.
Well, that's where I buy most of my cargo pants.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can buy Union Bay cargo pants at Kohl's for $25.
Wait, that's crap. They're calling
know.
those things cargo pants? What?
Who? The Duluth stuff or the
No, Banana
Firehouse
Republic.
cargo work pant for $69.50
$120
looks
bucks
rugged
for
and
lightweight wool
durable.
pant? This is
Wow.
a travesty.
Banana's overpriced.
Travesty.
Banana is overpriced, Josh.
I mean, the Gap bought them in like 1983, and it's been downhill ever since.
My wife used to work
Fudge.
at the Gap, and all Gap employees get a 50% discount on everything at all of the stores that they own. So she got 50% off of Banana Republic and stuff. So during that time in our relationship, I had pretty much exclusively Gap and Banana Republic clothing. But that's the only way I would recommend buying it.
All right. Well, I guess now's not a good time to talk about our new sponsor this week, Gap Clothing.
Gap clothing, it's a deal at half the price.
Yeah.
You can just censor this part out.
So
The
anyway,
patented Sebastian jump cut.
There's another thing you can make fun of me for is my pick this week. As I said, I was under the weather and I had a chance to, while I was awake and coherent and conscious, I was able to watch a little bit of TV, and I decided to revisit a favorite, which is Sequest. Classic.
God, there's something wrong with you.
Classic 90s
You got
show.
the genius. You got the genius kid
Mhm.
that hangs out with the talking dolphin.
Oh,
I mean,
Darwin
that's
is
like-
amazing.
That's like
Darwin is the best part of this show.
boxing in Battlestar
Darwin's
Galactica,
the-
or Will Crusher,
Babylon
whatever the
5.
hell his name is. Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
Just
No,
stop
but
it.
okay, but it's
But Roy
some of the-
Scheider, sure,
Roy Scheider
and a penis-shaped submarine.
Aren't
you
they
should
all?
see a doctor if you think that's what a penis is supposed to look like. But anyway,
Now we talked about hate. We talked about hate, Jim.
no, I'm just concerned because I mean, yes, there are objects in the ocean that are phallic shaped, but the Sequest has got a lot of twists to it. Anyway, it's a great show. Don't listen to these jerks. It's 90s. It's cheesy. It's got some stupid acting, but of course it was 90s TV, and it was a great show, and I really enjoyed it. And it used to be on Netflix, and it's not on anymore, unfortunately. And when I looked for this post, it's apparently not streaming anywhere. And adding insult to injury, most of the DVDs are out of stock. And they did a Blu-ray remaster. So when you had the Blu-rays, those were great. I imported the full set from Germany, which is one of the only places they released the whole Blu-ray set a few years ago. But if you can look around eBay, Amazon, find a set, a used set for sale, or, it's available elsewhere at reduced cost, is what I'll say. And my view on that is if a company's not going to make a product easily available, then somebody's got to do what they got to do, because you can't miss this show. So check out Sequest. If you missed it the first time, just keep in mind it's early 90s. For the early 90s, nothing better.
Oh, so early 90s.
Nothing. You just
Should
said
be watching
nothing
C-Lab
better.
2021.
Very few things better. Very few things underwater that are better.
Oh, underwater. Oh, now you're okay. You know what? You know what's better? Early '90s underwater. The Hunt for Red October, starring Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin.
That was 90. That was 90.
Yeah, that's
so I guess
90,
that was
yeah.
1990.
Yeah, because I tried to remember. I tried to invite Betsy Snook my senior year, spring, to go to the show, but I was stammering so badly. She just shook her head and walked off. It was awesome.
Hey, at least you didn't call the
It was
cops.
a
It could have
foundational
been
moment
worse.
in my life.
Yeah.
Wait, that was to go see the Hunt for Red October. She refused
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no,
Were you wearing your Banana Republic
He was
cargo
wearing
pants? at the
cargo
time?
pants.
I could not afford cargo pants.
That's
you
true.
forget.
See, if only you had the $50,
This is why you
If
were rejected.
only.
Mhm.
think about what
Only.
your life could have been so different.
All right, Jeremy, what's your pick?
Well, this isn't new, but I have never noticed it before, which is an Intel NUC 8 Premium VR with a Kaby Lake G in it. So you do have the power to actually have a basic VR experience on something tiny enough to, attach to yourself so that all you've got hanging off of you is one long power adapter, which is, not actually a horrible use for this sort of thing. Glad somebody got it.
All right, thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
Don't you have one of these, Jim? Like you have
Well,
that.
You
unit,
got a
right?
long power adapter?
I do, but
It's
this
corkscrew
is
shaped.
I have this in the sense that it came over with the asset acquisition from Ryan and Ken, because Ken reviewed this a year ago or so, whenever it came out, sometime in 2018. So there is a review of this at PC Per.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it, and it's on sale right now because, obviously it's just over a year old. But, honestly, it's not that bad of a deal. I'm sure in the States it's significantly cheaper than the grand that it is up here.
Yeah, they were selling it for like $800, I think, a couple weeks ago on Newegg.
So it'd
Then
actually be cheaper to buy up here. I think we're down around 74 cents right now.
who's next? Josh.
Guess me. It's not real original, but you know what? If you buy a 2700X, you're going to have a pretty fast, multi-threaded CPU. You're going to be happy with the X470 base motherboard. There's a lot of good options out there. The prices are all going down. I'm looking forward to the 3000 series of chips from AMD, but I don't think that it's going to be a quantum leap like from the Athlon XP to the Athlon 64. It's going to be
That was 80s, not
You
90s.
get-
Scott Bakula? Quantum Leap?
Oh,
no.
okay.
Hey.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay. Anyway, no, I was thinking when was the Athlon XP released and when was Athlon 64? But anyway, yeah, I think the 3000 series are going to be faster, but they're going to be more expensive, and same with the motherboards. And I don't know if you're going to get all that much. I could be wrong. I mean, PCIe 4.0 probably is the big jump. So if you don't see yourself really getting an NVMe PCIe 4.0 drive, it's not as big of a deal. If you just keep what you kind of got right now, or go for an X 470, yeah. The 2700X is a great chip. It's quick in pretty much everything. And cheap.
All right. Yep, it sure is. At least now, especially with these price cuts. So
8 cores, 16 threads for $289.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like, what's not to like?
yep, and the cooler,
Yeah.
which you got to keep in mind because the Intel parts that compete with this don't come with coolers. So you're getting a full kit.
It's the full meal
And
deal.
it's not one of those old, it's not one of those old retail coolers that, are not even good as a paperweight.
Yeah, these are good
let alone
good
the cooler
coolers.
chip that they sell of it. Yeah, these are good.
All right, Sebastian, take us home.
Okay, my pick is something I watched recently on Amazon Prime, but it's also available on DVD for like just over $7, I think, on Amazon right now, which is At Last, the 1948 Show, which is an old Monty Python sketch show, if you can see where my mind has been lately, watching a lot of British sketch comedy. But this was interesting because it was John Cleese and Graham Chapman, who later did Monty Python with the others, but also the acting debut of Marty Feldman, who had been a writer up to that point exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought he looked too odd to be on TV, but David Frost gave him a chance, and obviously he had a big career after that. But very funny. Originally, at some point in history, the tapes were erased, so they thought the show, except for a couple episodes, was just gone forever. But over the last few years, leading up through, I think, 2013, 2014, they've found enough of the episodes to reconstruct it. So the DVD and the stuff that's on Amazon is a good half dozen or more fairly complete episodes. Very, very funny. It's much more heavy on the writing than any kind of visual. Some of the crazy stuff that Monty Python, especially by season 3 and 4, were doing, nothing like that. It's like early Python. Very, very funny. Definitely worth $7.50 for the DVD, or just stream it if you have Amazon Prime.
Well, that's the show. A little shorter this week. Appreciate everyone understanding. I need to go put my power cord into a power outlet. I don't know.
That can sting.
Ow. No. Maybe the wife, but
No. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you stayed around this long. God bless you, and hope everyone has a great week. We'll be back next week. As a reminder, on Thursday night. That's Thursday the 4th. Where's my calendar? 4th. Yes. So a day late next week, and then as we said, possibly or likely no podcast the following week. But go to pcpro.com/subscribe. Join the mailing list, and you'll know for sure what the plans are for that week after. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.